Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the G2 Esports Get the Cash Cup, partnered by Logitech and PaySafeCard. I'm Taylor Reflections Noble, joined by Jacob MVPR, and the time has finally come. We have watched at least, and hopefully you guys have all watched the, 18 matches we've had so far, and now we're down to our final 6 matches, of course, grand finals. It's going to be an amazing time. Jacob, how you feeling, brother? The time is here.
Now, you know I'm doing great, fantastic, energized. Back here again, like Jordan 96-97, going for the gold. One of these teams will be crowned champion. It's a $20,000 prize pool split between the top 3. And we started this tournament, like you said, with 12,000 players, 4,000 teams. And we got down to our final 33, 99 players, 1 lobby left with everything on the line here today.
Yeah, you mentioned 4,000 teams. Of course, that was the bulk of that anyways, taking place in stage 1 throughout the open qualifiers. We had 2 of them. And out of 4,000 team, well, only 132 trios moved forward to semifinals. Earlier today, if you had the chance to join us in stage 2, we had the chance to watch 8 total trios make it out of the 132. So think about it. 4,000 to 132, 132 down to 8. And now those 8 trios who are incredibly talented and hungry for victory will play against the 25 trios that have been invited. Total 33 trios, 6 games. And of course, the 20,000 euro prize pool. But what are the points going to look like, right, for grand finals? Because they kind of changed going from stage 1 to stage 2. We had 2 points per elimination. That's going to stay the same. And it looks like everything else is going to stay the same from before. Cumulative 30 points you can get if you go into that first place position, get the victory royale. But one thing we've learned, Jacob, is the victory royale isn't enough to take the victory. You need eliminations as well.
Yeah, you need a good combination of everything that you mentioned. And you've seen some of our qualifier teams. Vortex, they won 2 games. They got 51 total eliminations in the lobby. That's over 100 points off eliminations alone. It's very crucial to skyrocket yourself above the leaderboards. But you have to be very, very careful. In a lobby like this, stacked with some of the best in all of Fortnite, I've been saying all of Europe, but all of Fortnite in general, you have to be very, very careful which fight to take, because it doesn't matter the amount of confidence and skill you possess to take every fight. You have to have the brain and the IQ to know which fight you should take and which you shouldn't.
Let's go ahead and talk about the big thing, though, right? What everybody is playing for, the 20,000 euros, Jacob, and obviously 10,500 for first place. You'll love to see it. Second place, 3K, and third place, 1.95. But there's also a little bonus. For every victory royale that you get, you can earn $750 across 6 games. Jacob, you did the math. I'm terrible at it. How much money was that?
It's about 4,500 euros up for grabs if you find yourself a victor of all 6 games. But I've never seen a tournament like that in my life. So I think that victory royale bonus is going to be spread around pretty evenly, unless one trio really has what it takes to step up to the plate and play as consistent as possible, close to their game plan, have that balance between taking high ground, working low ground, and knowing your situation all the way through. Because you're going to have those teams, especially as the games do go on, they're going to get desperate for those eliminations, that get desperate for those points, and they're going to try to W you and try to get those eliminations.
Well, I hope they don't W key the wrong trio, because even though we have seen the 8 that ended up qualifying, we have 25 other trios that look talented and stacked and ready to go. First and foremost, a moment of silence, and I'm only going to give it a couple of seconds. Chat, look at this list. Who is your favorite trio? You already are giving your opinions. I already know it. Mongraal obviously being one of those favorites. For me, though, I'm looking at Mitro. I'm looking at Sir. I'm looking at Wolfies, okay? You got Tuna, you got Kano and Japko. Of course, that is our top 8 from the qualifiers team. I'm also got G2 Letshe out there. By the way, if he gets a victory route tonight, you will be getting a $100 giveaway opportunity to win. Just want to point that out in conjunction with PaySafeCard. I've said my piece. I'm going to let you say your piece, Jacob.
I mean, there's so many talented names. I'm looking at the team list right now. I'm like, you got 100T, MrSavage, and Red and Revscard in here. You have Frey, Rabbit, and Hardfind. You have Malaz, Slender, and Paco, Stompy, Wise, and Fast Roki. There's just too many elite players right now that it comes time and time again. RNG is going to play a big portion, but these players are going to have to find a way to stay consistent through and through, no matter what loot they get, no matter what circles get generated. undefeated. They're going to have to figure it out in the end. 6 straight games, Reflections. 6 games they have to work, and it's going to come down to this where, like I said, teams are going to get desperate. Teams are going to be near the top where they have the cushion. It's going to be a full balanced war coming out.
I'm also looking at Nyrox, Airwalks, and Steyr, right? Those are going to be my trio as well to make it. And man, is he not OG? I mean, come on, brother. These guys have been playing and competing. And even if you're not OG, even if you've not been there since the very beginning of Fortnite, you know they have the talent regardless, right? So this is going to be an intense 6 games. You better believe it. You got to favor the qualifier teams, though, with how well they played and how hard they grinded to get here. Vortex, just in that bottom right section of the list, okay? It's going to be High Chris, Vortex, and Knight. These guys are one of the most talented trios moving out of the qualifier stages, and they are going to be serious. We've seen them land at Steamy. We've seen them, make the adjustment that, to go over towards Corny Complex. I'm curious where they're going to go for these 6 games. But wherever they go, they're going to be running into a talented trio that is ready to stop them down. Game 1 is where you set the precedence. It's not going to be like, previous where, in the 4,000 team, 2 heats that we saw yesterday, right? Casting that alongside that of Tokata. Every lobby was different. It was a mixed bag. You didn't know what you were going to get. You didn't know the skill level of the lobby, right? Semifinals, a little bit more concise, more skilled, obviously, only 132 teams there. But now you're reaching the top 33 teams. And that, in a way, is beneficial, but unbeneficial because now you don't really have changing locations and crazy locations and this team challenging you, that team challenging you, right? That could happen as we get closer to Game 6. But everything should be more solidified here, Jacob. And you should know what you're going into and have a good game plan because you know the competition you're going against. You should have studied them. You should know who you are going to be playing. So at the end of the day, this should set you up for success.
Especially, I don't remember which is the exact name, but during that commercial break, I was looking through the Fortnite streams. I ended up on a guy named, I think his name's Coach Boop, I do believe it was. He was going ahead and trying to, Coach Boop, I think his name was, on Twitch. Okay. So if you're in there watching, shout out to you. But he was going ahead and plotting out all these drop spots. That's something you can do in a set lobby like this. So you know if you're getting contested, if you're not. But already you see 3 teams landing at Slurpee Swamp, and already there's a player down. You got some contestation up top. MrSavage going towards the Steamy stacks. Possibly a split house drop between another team if they don't want to contest.
No way MrSavage dies here. No way he gets beamed, Jacob. Are you kidding me?
That's got to be from one of those fires.
Yo, can Art...
Oh, no.
Yo, the fact that he gets down. Imagine if MrSavage is first blooded out of everybody.
Their whole trio was getting tagged up. Look at Enreda there as well. They just got tagged out of the sky time and time again. Possibly less than 100 HP as a trio. They really have to figure something out. And depending on, like I said, where that 3rd team actually went, towards triple houses, over towards that new, I wouldn't call it a POI, but that new landing spot where the jump pad is at, they could end up in a very, very tight situation here. They have to figure out a way to grab the med kits. You already see Enreda did. They have to get some minis and some shields as well, and they have to figure out some sort of escape plan. Absolutely.
Escape plans are obviously paramount. Enreda, though, not having the most good, or at least the best of loot. Like the fact, though, Malibuca is going to be challenging. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, Malibuca, Murstache, and Falcon, one of our top 8 teams that ended up qualifying from the Challenger. They're at Steamy and already an engagement underway. Falcon will lose his life momentarily, and not going to be a good engagement for him. Murstache takes him down. Again, 2 Challenger teams, I guess, forced to, or excuse me, 1 Challenger team getting the best of one of our already automatically qualified teams. Enreda has already dipped out. I like this, though. Going over towards the dilapidated buildings, taking at least whatever loot he can. I assume he's not going to get a lot. MrSavage going to be following suit. By the way, chat, for any of our Spanish speakers, we do in fact have another commentator working in conjunction with G2, twitch.tv/Jelty. That's Jelty. He's going to be doing the commentary in Spanish, and he's also going to have the same clean feed that we have. So if you guys want to go check him out, please do. For any of the Spanish speakers who might be bilingual, please make sure to type in Spanish if you could in chat, because I don't speak Spanish. I apologize. I wish I did. I would be. I shouldn't have cheated in high school. Okay, let's just put it there. Okay, I cheated in high school. I don't know Spanish now, and that's just my fault. Don't cheat in school. You won't learn anything.
But Jelty, though? Jelty,
Yeah,
professional
Jelty,
player Jelty, the jack of all trades.
Yes,
That man
sir.
can do everything, hitting up the commentary, not only, but in Spanish as well. I know a few words here and there. I might pop it out if things get tight, but like I said, or like Reflection said, that's going to be our Spanish stream. Call it the B stream, call it the Alpha stream, depending on how many viewers he gets. But Mergin, Slicks, and I do believe his Noof is traveling around. They get that uncontested split drop in towards the middle, and this is where we talk about in a lobby like this that is so stacked, you almost got to take what you can get. But Benjyfishy, I know a lot of you out there are waiting for his moment. I know his mom is cheering him on as well. Slurpee swap, this was a big fight. There was at least 3 trios here at one point or another.
Man, I got to tell you, Benjyfishy, talented player, been around OG. Okay, he's been around since literally the beginning of Chapter 1, Season 1 through 10, World Cup qualifier. And Benji might be dead in that situation. 29 health, not a good place to be, and he's going to be gone at the moment. Chance to get rebooted a little bit later. Mappy takes him down. Wave Joe on your screen, 53 health. Choose to reset, take that high ground. Top off his shield as much as he can. Slurpee Swamps, Jacob, has been in contention throughout both days, especially the qualifiers. We normally see 3 or 4 teams fighting it out. 2 normally within Slurpee, 2 on the outskirts. They usually meet up with each other. This was a popular location specifically in the previous seasons, especially when those hot POIs were there and the NPCs, you could go and buy things. You obviously the chunk cannon, right? This was the location you could buy that. You can't do that anymore in Season 7. The only way you get a chunk cannon is by finding a loot llama, but regardless though, you're not leaving Slurpee without being fully kitted up, not only in mats, weapons, but also shields, and that's what makes this POI such a great location and hotly contested through and through each season to season.
Yep. They were able to travel through that building. They got Benjyfishy's card as well, but this trio above him doesn't want to let them escape. Not only is this elimination points, this is taking out one of the better players in all of this lobby as an individual. And Benjyfishy, we switch on over. Thomas, HD, Flick, and Anas. This was another trio I was really looking out for. And they're already looking like they're going to get Dirty Dogs, possibly a fight going down here as well. So we got 2 different major POIs, 2 different major teams throughout this tournament battling out for their tournament lives.
Battling out indeed, Jacob. I mean, it's just going to be a battle in general, isn't it? I mean, that's just kind of the main theme overall. The best teams playing it out. 20K euros, $750 for the victory royale. Tons of money to be earned. Dirty Dogs, 2 trios look as if they're going to be meeting head on currently. Curious who's going to make it out of that one. They are within zone, though, so not the biggest, I guess, pressure to rotate out, right? You know, Storm really isn't going to have an effect on this, so you can take your time. Obviously, if you're not within that safe zone, you got to really think, is it worth it to engage and fully commit to fighting off this trio? But again, it's game 1, and I think ultimately you need to fight in game 1 for your spot, regardless of the positioning of the safe zone. The reason why is because you want to show that trio that is contesting your landing spot that you should not be messed with, and you're going to have to find somewhere else, or else you're not going to have a successful 6 games.
Yeah. See, they got him trapped in towards the building. This is where they have to make that decision. Do you go ahead and continue to hunt them down or make way towards zone? And that's where it gets tricky. If you go ahead and turn and try to get out at the wrong time, it will cost your life, but they're going to drive the truck right into those builds. They want to explode it. They want to take out as much of their piece control as possible. Get them to waste mats if they're looking to expand forward yet again. But this is where they're just playing it careful. They know it's not all or nothing in this fight. Their tournament lives are not on the line here to where they're forced to go in, try to get the elimination points and the placement as well, so they can back off. But this is where it gets tricky. If you back off at the wrong time, you could get caught out. And it looks like they're going for that truck play again. They want to get Optimus involved in this fight.
All right, well, let's see how that one's going to turn out. That's, oh man, so you know the trio up top, right? We saw them in a fight just a little bit earlier, Slicks and Co. Do they rotate down the Dirty Dogs for the third party? We've seen that take place. Seems as if they're just going to go ahead and stay up top, maybe get some pop shots off with the sniper, obviously back in from Chapter 7. And Chad, I asked you, what do you think about the snipers back into the game, especially back into competitive? Is it a good thing, bad thing? Let me know your opinion. Personally, I'm a fan of it because it's a very punishing weapon. You can't afford to leave your backside or your sides in general, your head exposed, right? It makes you think twice about getting those free rotates where you don't want to build. It makes you think twice about where your positioning is currently at. It's a high pressure weapon, and we've seen some teams and some players severely get punished because of rogue sniper shots. But that trio up top, I'm curious to see what their game plan is going to be. I think they're going to be playing that gatekeeper role, but Benjyfishy and co, they're out very early. There's so 84 players. So within the first 4 trios to be eliminated, Benjyfishy was one of them.
Yeah, one of the fan favorites out there. And now they're going to have to rotate in. They're going to make sure that they get as much replenished as possible with the barrels, with everything that is around, possibly try to stay and loot what's left. But depending on how far this zone is, that might not be the case. They might be forced to go forward. And there's a team that's just waiting at the edge of zone as well. I wouldn't say they're necessarily waiting. That's actually going to be Letshe's team as well. If they find themselves, and Letshe's team had to have heard all that action going down because it went down for so long. So depending if they want to go ahead and storm hold them in and fight this team, making sure that they cannot leave without sacrifice, they can. And it does look like they're going to go for one of these new chests. They have to wait for their teammate here to get into the mix. But Letshe knows. That's what I'm saying. Look at them setting up, ready to attack and get these eliminations.
Setting up indeed, again, playing that gatekeeper role. Not a bad strategy. I mean, obviously, you're already fighting against Storm. You have to assume you're not going to be comfortable as a trio trying to battle away from that Storm. It's only ticking for one. Only ticking for one. But regardless, though, it's still that added pressure indeed. And they're going to go ahead and dip out. Fair enough. Reposition and get closer. Because even though you do want to storm hold, it's not a bad play per se. You still have only a minute until that storm starts to move in, and it's not a good idea to kind of fight while in zone, but they're going to get those storm surge tags, and honestly, that's equally as important. They're not going for eliminations, but they want to make sure storm surge doesn't affect them when we get into later game.
Yep, please try to, I don't want to say brief by any means for the actual term, but just make their game that much harder as it does progress, because obviously they're going to have to use any heals, use any minis a little bit earlier than they were anticipating. And you see multiple teams, and I got to think the chat's going to be going wild here in just a moment as we jump on board Mongraal, setting himself up in towards the zone. This is very, very early, so there's still the possibility of a lot of rotation made to be made, and that's why he's peeking through the cone. And that's where I'm always trying to tell a lot of these players that are coming up, asking for tips. It's very, very important that you continue peeking through these cones instead of dancing around, trolling around in your boxes, because you need to get that information of everybody rotating around, who's using a jump pad, who's using what builds, what fights are going down, instead of waiting for that zone to pop, and then now with your backs up against the wall, forced to make a rotate, that's when you're gathering the information.
I don't know if anybody remembers like the OG Friday Fortnite days, the elimination races. Well, Mongraal, it's funny. First time I ever heard about him was a couple years back. I'm talking very early in Fortnite, Chapter 1, Season 4, I want to say, when the Friday Fortnite was really popping off. And Mongraal was playing, I can't remember his teammate that he was with, but he was on the Secret organization at the time. And I remember not knowing anything about him. Obviously, Fortnite was still very early. Everybody was getting established back then. Daquan, Myth, and all of them were considered, the gods of builds back in the early days. Obviously not now, but Mongraal ended up actually winning the tournament. We're like, wow, we went crazy for him. He was absolutely insane, and it's nice to see the career he's had, clearly being one of the most mechanically sound players out there.
Look who it is.
Representing EU quite well, but over on your screen, and this is one of the Vortex, right? Vortex and Co, who ended up qualifying from the top 8 moving forward, and it looks as if they run into a squad that is just not going to have it. They don't care about their route. They only care about grand finals, and they're going to punish them, and they're finished off super early.
Yeah, it's not over just yet, and that's where I was saying Vortex and them, they slayed out both open and semis, but this is a different feel, a different style of lobby, and you can already see it. Mongraal, like a shark, ready to attack. They know there's already blood in the water, and they don't want to let this trio escape, but they know that they don't have to fight every fight. They're just going to go ahead and build on top. If the opportunity comes to them, they will get aggressive. They will try to finish off these eliminations, but if the opportunity doesn't come, they know they need to rotate in towards zone. They're going to be ahead of this team so they can later on storm hold them out and try to pick up those eliminations, but instead they're going to do it a little bit sooner than I thought. They know that they have to put that pressure on before they escape.
And his old duo was Dementos. Thank you for helping me out there, guys. Yeah, Dementos and Mongraal, that's just two phenomenal individuals who just grinded and made their way to the top. You got to take them seriously, Jacob. You really do. The fact that 76 still remain, obviously, it's going to be hotly contested, and I do believe they are going to be below the storm threshold. So not only are they going to be taking the storm surge damage, but also they're going to be taking the storm damage. So not a good spot to be in. Plus, they're going to be gate kept. So this is a terrible spot for Mongraal and Co to be in.
Yeah, they're taking that damage already. There's a team behind them, but that team behind them already fought some people, so they don't have to worry about that storm surge. So if they spot Mongraal and his trio in front of him taking that amount of damage, they can easily sneak up on him, try to take out this team, and get the necessary eliminations, and Mongraal goes down. That possibility is going to be even higher, but it looks like they're making that safe play. They're trying to rotate in towards zone. They're not worried about what's going on their side because they know their placement points are much more important in staying alive. Mongraal not able to get revived just yet, but they're just in shambles right now. 18 HP?
Yeah, absolute shambles. Absolute shambles, Jacob. And also just 12 above that storm surge. Again, something that's going to affect them greatly. This isn't looking good if you're a Mongraal fan. Hey, look, guys, I think it's about to be over with. Rafa having to go big and just really make this moment his. Excuse me. He's going to be rotating out, taking damage, getting beamed. But I guess not so much. But I don't know if he got the cards either. So
just
that's
don't go into the bridge.
One of the obviously key points.
I'm like, just don't go into the bridge. There's some trolls under the bridge. You cannot pass without paying the toll. And their toll is possibly one elimination. I want to say he spotted those builds out. He has to know they're there. And as a solo, he's going to play it a little slow. He obviously is going to get his shields and HP back up, but he's going to be looking to rotate in with recycled builds, or maybe just take a 2 or 3 maybe steps forward and kind of sit towards that edge of zone. But Miro, Flames, Snap, they have a different plan in mind. They're getting it down onto one player, not able to clean it up just yet. Breaking into the box, 105 tag, and I do believe that's going to be a team wipe for them. That's 6 total elimination points so far.
Yeah, well done. Obviously 2 points per elimination. So Miro and Co going to be sitting pretty. Obviously late game is where you make the most of them. If you get a victory royale, on top of $750 you'll be earning, you also get 30 points added onto your total. And we have seen some stacked games and some stacked teams finish, with 53, 54 points respectively. Absolutely massive. Mappy wants it. 5 health, but he's got some shield. And he knows making that edit is going to put him directly in line with Loot Boy and Co. But does he take it? I don't think he does. And also, too, if you go up, there's going to be a trio ready to mow you down. So it's a situation for that low ground team. But either way, we got a couple of teams tightly compacted in here. The box fights will ensue. Jerky just trying to build as much as he can, right? Keep that piece placement, because once a trio starts to focus fire on you, you're going to be in trouble, and all angles are going to be attacked. Jerky, though, hits a nice shot. Doesn't take any damage from it, just minuscule. He's got to play this carefully, Jacob.
Yeah, you got to use that other trio third partiness as a distraction to try to either get out alive or try to take the necessary minis and shields. But Jerky, he's getting separated from his teammates. That's something that's happened. But this is where, like I said, you have to figure out a way out unless you want to try to pick up these eliminations, which some of the best players in Europe all in the same lobby. That's not something I recommend. Those opportunities will come to you later in the game as long as you find that position into zone. If you look at the bottom left-hand portion of your map, there's going to be a lot of players rotating in low side caddy. They're not going to have that high ground, but not having that high ground with the amount of teams that are stacked up here might be the blessing, because everybody's going to be close to one another, distracted with one another, so they might be able to escape with some extra placements being that down low.
€20 pay safe card giveaway currently going on in chat. Make sure you type what everybody else is typing, and you should be entered and ready to go. Looks like Letshe for the W, or Letshe W. But back on board with the action here. Guild Hin playing with Janice and Oogway. Obviously a very talented roster, one of our teams that were invited. We'll see what they're going to be up to and what they can do. Inventory looking pretty decent. Guess we need to go ahead and go through the air, but obviously go in, taking a little bit of damage, not what he wanted. And a bit of an awkward build scenario is choosing to, or at least not choosing, but forced to kind of, slide down that mountain. But either way, it's going to be within that safe zone. I think that's the biggest key takeaway. So even though he doesn't get on top of the hill where he was wanting to be, he still manages to get in a safe part. Teams are going to be rotating in, and they got a decent build. So at this point, they're going to be all right. But overtaking that hill, depending on where the half and half is going to be coming up next, they could find themselves into some trouble.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking that exact same thing. I'm getting that deja vu feeling of one of the games in our semifinals, going up the mountain, down the mountain. It gets so chaotic, and the possibility right here of it going up towards Caddy, towards that high ground where all these low ground teams are just going to have to rotate, expend mats, jump pads, whatever it may be. It's not going to be something they want. But on the flip side, if it goes down low, those high ground teams, they're going to have a little bit more of a cushion than their opposition at the low ground, because they're going to be able to recycle some builds, recycle some jump pads if they so please. So they're going to have a lot of an easier time. But that's why I said being low at this stage in the game at that hill wasn't necessarily the worst thing, but now you have to be very, very cognizant of if it pulls high. Everybody just wants to fight.
Nice tags from Loot Boy, brother. Nice tags. Does this duo get into the box? I don't think they do, no, but he's got to be careful because he's getting lobby focused at this point, at least from the players that are currently within this location. So you might find out more than you could chew, and Stompy, though, it looks as if he's going to, but picks up an elimination. That's going to be 2 to his name. Loot Boy's still alive, but not a perfect situation for this trio because Devour Ways has been eliminated. So they'll be a duo for the remainder of this game. No way you're going to get your teammate back in. Nice edit for 36, gets the refresh as well. That's going to be the important thing. Couple of launch pads plus the chug cannon, Jacob. That is the big takeaway.
That might as well have been just hot plate right there from back row. He gets the edit on the player that's down, quickly cleans him up, and he just gets everything that is needed. So now they have the option when to rotate. They can take a little bit of those tags, trying to go and be a little slow, even though I don't recommend it. Low pad coming out from Kylie and their trio. Wacky's going to go ahead and do the same, but instead of a low pad, they want to go ahead and get as close to inside of the zone as possible, even if they have to steal away the high ground. But going ahead and second guessing it for that moment. There were some tags sent their direction as they find their spot into the zone. This is where they have the opportunity now to become a little bit aggressive, get some tags to try to eliminate some players that might be trying to travel in themselves.
Let's see what's going to take place now.
Ooh.
Obviously, everybody getting within this half and half pretty well for what it's worth. I was expecting a lot more loss of players, but at this point, still 50 remain. Storm Surge obviously going to play an issue overall. A couple of teams fighting for that high ground, but yeah, this is where it gets tricky, especially with the river there. You shouldn't play too much, but I think for the most part, it's where that moving zone is going to be, and it's not going to benefit really anybody because of how tightly contested the things are, but yeah, it's going to pull towards that bottom right side of things.
That's back up the mountain. That's not just the bottom right of things. That's back up the mountain towards Caddy, so even though some of these players, you can see that they have at least 1, maybe 2 jump pads. You got to see players try to look at to recycle some jump pads. These players that kind of have this high portion of the zone, they can try and build out, but they have to be careful because we've already seen it in our opens. We've seen it in our semifinals, and that's the way the meta is since the addition of the jump pads. You have to be careful because a team at a moment's notice can save all of their resources and jump pad to take that height away from you, and that's exactly what we're looking like for a moment. They're trying to get as close to that mountain as possible without wasting these builds.
Well, Immersion is risking quite a bit building with just wood. Granted, that's all he has, but you can easily get shot down, and then you don't know where you're going to be landing. If you're going to be landing in somebody's box, how much fall damage you're going to be taking. So he needs to get a connection onto one of these previous builds if he possibly can, but now he's going to be in a build battle over top. Oh, down though, right in front of somebody. I believe his teammate put Granted. Will he be able to take out the trio just above? This high ground positioning is going to be so incredibly important. He's got
barely
builds currently with just metal, but just barely. I mean, this battle for high ground is brutal. You got people launch padding in. You got people building up. There's literally like 2-3 trios currently fighting for high ground. It looks like BL is going to be the only one on top.
Yeah, BL kind of heard those jump pads along with Vidil and their trio to kind of maintain that high ground. But you got to wonder how many resources, how many mats do they have left to kind of continue to maintain that high ground. You see Storm Surge playing a big role as well. They're going to be sitting comfortably. They have 500 above that Storm Surge, but Janus, he's only 20 above. He needs these tags, but he gets flanked towards the backside, doesn't hear it is coming. 2 players are actually falling, and the whole trio is wiped out of this one as they get Storm Surge working against them. They had a tunnel vision on getting those tags, and it cost them in the end.
Cost them in the end. So now players continue to die off, but at the end of the day, we're going to see who's going to end up on top. 28 players, 14 trios still remain. Everybody fighting for positioning in game 1. They want to boost up the, or at least the leaderboards currently. Down on your screen now. Ultimate high ground. He's definitely sitting pretty good. He's good, but dropping down, maybe potentially going into someone's box. You got to watch out for that. Stompy. one of the most talented players, or at least one of the talented players in this lobby right now with that legendary pump. It's obviously going to be huge if he can get those big tags. Not a bad game, though, for FaZe as well. You're looking at least 3 eliminations across the board. It's going to be 6 points, but using a launch pad to quickly get inside the zone. Now they get the storm just in front of them, and everybody's going to be coming behind them, so it could be an opportunity to pick up a couple of eliminations, but stop. He falls to FaZe, I think, is still alive, if I'm not mistaken. The players are dropping left and right.
That's an elimination point, possibly a placement point as well. He's doing it all as a solo. Quick build, trying to get through. I like his movement. I like his decision making as he's going through unscathed. It almost looks like he's uncontested here for the moment. Finds some extra resources as well. That med kit could prove to be advantageous towards the very end. He has 30 HP he can get back. A moment to pop a mini as well. He's doing it all as a solo. You see players getting wiped off the map. 11 trios remaining. 20 players that he has to go up against.
20 players, as you said. You don't want to be a solo in that moment. Resiny, though, dropping down with where's this duo at? Where's Vidil at? Where's BL? I know BL had high ground just before. Hopefully he still does. Are they all three? So they're all three going to be up here and able to focus on the players down below. Well done. So this is looking as if they're going to be able to take a lead, you have to assume.
Arthur going through along with JoJo. They're still trying to keep ahead of zone. Everything is coming down to this. 10 teams remaining. Wakey finally goes out. 8 and 7 gets taken out as well. Pink goes out as well. Everybody is just falling at this very moment. Towards the end, they get themselves an epic pump shotgun, which is going to be key at the end. In these close CQC fights, they're trying to break somebody down to the box. I told you how crucial it would be. He gets a quick elimination, gets the chug cannon as well. They can do it from the low ground.
They definitely can. 5 trios remain. Tan, 1 comes down. Luke is going to pick up that elimination. Mergent also with the chug cannon is going to be huge. I believe his teammate also has one as well, so they can battle for the hill off if need be. It looks like Hiko is also going to fight. You have to assume, yeah, and the high ground is still there. And for the credit of Videl and Co., they've had that high ground pretty much for the entirety of this late game.
This is literally heal off. Chug splash is going off. You got to think some fish are playing a part. They're running out of opportunities here. Vidil goes in. He gets the elimination towards the late game. He switches on over, and I do think they picked it up thanks to some storm damage, and they take game number 1.
Well done from Vidil and Co. Woo, you love to see it. I mean, look, a talented trio. What is that? 9, 11 eliminations. That's going to be, what, 22 total points going to them, plus the victory royale. So 52-point game and $750 to add on top of their spoils, brothers. So, like, they're already making money, and they're well on the way to getting first for 10,500 euros. So they can do no wrong, it seems.
Yeah, you didn't see him there at the end, but BL holding that high ground, forcing everybody who jump pad, trying to steal it away, right back down to where they came from. You didn't see him towards the end. They kind of completed that one as a duo, but you got to admit his work was well part of their plan to win this game, and he possibly sacrificed his life as well, forcing all those players down, which is going to be key. And honestly, I don't even know how they did it. They held that high ground for so long, possibly going down to the very last match.
Yeah, absolutely. And well done to those that did make it to late game. Some shining stars, though, that we were hyping up and chat was hyping up. They don't make it very far. They don't make it very far. That just comes to show you how stacked these 6 games are going to be. Game number 1 is done. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're breaking down the leaderboard plus game 1 and heading into game 2. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.